Hey, what's up YouTube channel? My name's Ryan. Today I thought I'd make a short video on the process of Truoil finish on a solid wood guitar instrument. This is a 6-string steel string guitar. I am a huge proponent of the no longer in business Tacoma brand of guitars, but I see a lot of people posting about putting the finishes on their guitars and different struggles. I've been restoring and repairing guitars now for a little over 3 years. So I thought I'd make a video to help maybe some of you that are trying to do this at home avoid some of the pitfalls and hopefully end up with the results that you want. So first thing you'll notice here is that I've already prepared the guitar. This is a mahogany guitar with a spruce top. This is a DM10 model by the Tacoma brand. So this guitar already has probably 20 or 21 coats of the Truoil finish on it. That's this product here. It's made by Birchwood Casey. And this is historically used for refinishing gun stock and different gun finishes. But it's caught on quite a bit for instrument and guitar finishes specifically. I've really enjoyed using the product, and this is my 5th or 6th guitar that I've redone with this. Now, Tacoma was a brand that was known for the Tacoma Rash. It was a polyurethane finish that they applied from the factory that over time would flake and chip off, which may have been or may not have been part of the demise of the company. However, they had made solid instruments. To me, these guitars compete with the Taylors and the Martins of the world for a fraction of the cost. But we're not here to talk about Tacoma. We're here to talk about the Truoil finish process. So one thing I've learned is, the amount of prep that you put in to your finish and your project, whatever you're working on, is going to be the key to ending up with the results. There is no, in my opinion, shortcuts to get the results that you're looking for if you're looking for perfection, which I often am. So here we have the guitar body. Again, this is a steel 6-string. This is a dreadnought shaped guitar. Here we also have the neck, headstock. You can see that I've disassembled this guitar and I've removed all the different components, including this rosewood bridge. Yours may be ebony, rosewood could be another type of wood. So something to keep in mind with using Truoil is the porosity and the type of wood that you're using. Some woods have more oil in them, others have a lot deeper pores and grain to fill. That's why I thought this was a good example to show you. Specifically, the majority of this guitar is mahogany, so to fill those pores and to truly get a sort of glass-like gloss finish, I'm going to show you just one cycle of the process. So one thing that's important to note, and going through each layer of the Truoil coating, is you need to flat it back each time that you apply a coat. So if you follow the instructions on the bottle, it says wait between 2 to 3 hours between coats before applying the next one. I sort of wait a good 12 to 24 to make sure that it's fully cured, depending on humidity and things of such. So preparing the guitar, I'm using between each coats a Quado steel wool product. You can pick this up at Lowe's, Home Depot, wherever you get your hardware maintenance products. And so I'm going to go through the process now. I've left a specific section after I've applied Truoil on this guitar so you can see, and I don't spend all time preparing it, but if you can see that right there on that arch in the center of the guitar, I've left quite a shiny spot. Each time that you allow a layer or a coat of the Truoil to fully cure, it's going to leave a high gloss finish. It's not going to leave the finish that you want to end up with until your pores are filled. So if you see a high gloss finish like that after you've let a coating cure, you're going to want to flat it back and continue to add coats of the Truoil until you get above the pores, or you're happy with the thickness of the Truoil finish. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this shiny section and I'm going to show you what it should look like after you're done preparing it and ready for a coat of Truoil. So as I said, I like to use Quado steel wool. So I'll take the section here and I'll show you in a second, but you see the shine. Okay, you see the shine here, specifically right in this area. You want to dull that back. And I caution you when using steel wool, especially fine steel wool, that you want to make sure that you are removing some material, but not a lot of material. Applying 20 plus coats of Truoil to finish guitar is quite labor intensive. I've been working on this one for several weeks. If you're not staying with it on and off, day in and day out, it can take even longer. So what I want to say about the steel wool is it puts off a lot of dust. So you can apply a piece of used steel wool to your guitar and it looks like it dulls it back, but when you wipe the dust away, you really haven't dulled the top or flattened the last coating down. Okay, so what I do is I really try to get a good buff down. You want to flat out any high spots. Maybe this steel wool floating in the air while it was curing. If you don't have a fully conditioned space like a wood shop or vacuum air conditioning or anything like that, you're going to have particulates floating around, and once that Truoil is curing, it becomes very tacky. So anything floating in the air that lands on the guitar or the piece of wood is going to stick to that finish. Okay, this process flats that back, gets those imperfections out, and gets the surface back down to a flat, ready to be coated surface. So now you see I've flatted this back. Okay, and what I mean by dull looking, maybe you could tell, maybe you can't, but there should be like a dull sheen. Okay, and what I like to do to make sure that I've really gotten the imperfections off the last coat is I take a little bit of water, very light vinegar, could be just water, and a microfiber towel, and I'll wipe the area completely. Okay, you could use a tack cloth if you wanted as well. I prefer to wet it so it shows me where I've done and where I've removed. Okay, and you're going to notice that it looks shiny and beautiful for a second, and then once that moisture on the outside dries off, the whole area should look dull, and but when you feel it, it should feel very smooth to the touch. There should be no imperfections. Your fingernails shouldn't catch on anything. And what you end up with, and this back is mahogany as the sides are. Okay, you'll end up with sort of a dull finish of natural wood. There's no stain in this, so this is natural mahogany color. When I touch this, for example, I rub my hand over it. Okay, I don't feel anything grabbing me, anything sticking up in the finish. The edges are nice and smooth, rounded over. So I've taken the time to prepare this properly to make sure that the Truoil is going to adhere in a fashion that I want it to. So continuing on, I'm going to wipe this down to make sure I've removed any bits of dust, and then we'll get on to the Truoil application. One of the other tricky spots with Truoil while I'm doing this is around the binding. So this guitar has a tortoiseshell binding. You can see on the top and bottom. These are quite beautiful and done properly, but when you're applying Truoil, it's real easy to get overzealous and add too much because you want to get done quickly. Especially on the corners and edges of the guitar, you have to be extremely conscious and delicate, and you'll see how I do it in a minute. Using light as your best friend, because when you use the light angle as you're applying it, you can see when you've sort of globbed it over the edge or applied too much, and I'll try to show you what that looks like. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to open up the Truoil. Typically I store it upside down like a lot of people to make sure that when this is exposed to atmosphere or air, it tends to harden up and gets globby on the end, so that can add texture or unwanted texture to your finish when you're applying it. So again, a clean surface. I put an old bed sheet or a towel down here. It's padded, it's nice and soft. and again, try to make sure that there's no dust or a lot of things floating around, and we'll give this a go. So I like to set the guitar on its back, and I start with the left side, I work up the right side or the bouts, and then I'll flip it around and do the back. I have not done the top yet, so we're not going to talk about the spruce. Completely different animal to finish. I suspect this will go quite easy compared to the porosity and the tons of grain, as you can see in the mahogany. So we'll do that in a different video. But like I said, I'll set this down on its back, and we'll prepare the Truoil. I like to take a microfiber towel, clean, lint-free. You'll see some guys fold up a piece of lint-free cloth, put it in, make what they call a mouse. That works, I guess, but I'm going to be doing a little bit thicker coat. Be right up there, honey, hold on. Like I was saying, using a microfiber towel that's clean, it's not a lot of lint on it, okay? I fold one up and I give myself, you know, a sort of a flat edge, about 2.5 inches wide across. So if I hold inside the sound hole, this is how I do it, I'll work, I don't have anything on here, I'll work it up the side, okay? And I'll get to the center of the guitar, okay? Then I'll, for security purposes, go in the bout into the sound hole with my other hand, and then I'll work up this side. When I'm ready to do the back, I'll grab it by the sound hole again like this, and I'll come around, paying again special attention to that binding to make sure that you're not globbing it on the top or bottom or on the corners. So we're going to give it a shot, and I'll show you the process. So here you can see we've dulled back the edges. Again, a smooth finish. There's no foreign material or fod on the area, and we're ready to do the Truoil. So we'll open up the Truoil, and again, I like to put a little hole in the top. If you find any like chunkies or hard stuff on the top of it, I like to take just a little microfiber and clean that off before I begin. So, using my left hand, again, I apply a little Truoil to the microfiber towel, and I let that soak in. You see, just like that. Okay, now I'm going to secure the guitar body through the sound hole with my hand, and I'm going to work this Truoil, okay, up to the center point of the guitar, and you can see immediately the color and shine pop through of both the binding and the beauty of the mahogany wood. So you see, I didn't press hard. I did a very light coat, and I will continue to do that on the other side. Again, adding a little bit more Truoil to my cloth. I'll spin the guitar so you can see, and I start at the upper bout, and I will work up to that center point again of the guitar in just general with the grain motion, nice and easy. And again, this will cure fairly quickly, but you want to make sure that you have an even spread and that it's not globbing or puddling anywhere. So you do have between a minute and 5 minutes, I would say, in most applications to get it how you want it. So, okay, and I've done the two sides. Now I'm going to flip and show you the back here. Okay, I'm going to do the same exact thing. I'm not going to reapply any more Truoil to the rag because I feel I have enough on there. Again, being mindful of the binding and trying not to get any foreign debris or your shirt or anything on the edges. So there you can see, okay, spin it around. All right, that's the sides and back and front of the guitar. Now I'm going to, from the sound hole, set the guitar down, not to disturb the Truoil that I just did. I'm going to reapply some more oil to my applicator. When I'm doing the back, I like to make sure I do the edges first to make sure that they're not missed. Edges are extremely hard, and you need to be gentle. Make sure that when you're pushing down and applying the oil, as you can see, I'm hitting the edge. If you push down too hard, it'll fall over the edge like a waterfall. It will harden and you'll have a big defect in your finish. So once I've done that, nice and quick up and down motions, I apply the Truoil, okay? And when you start to feel it get a little bit thin or tacky, all I do is apply a little bit more to the rag, okay? The goal is not to complete this in 1 or 2 coats. If you want a flat and gloss finish, it can take up to 30 plus coats to get it how you want it. So go easy on the edges because it's easy to push down and make them look different. So I always go very gentle on the front edge here, and then swipe, and then gentle on the back edge to make sure that my coating is even, okay? So there you can see, if you can see in the light, you have a nice, whoops, that's not good, okay? Then I like to go back to the binding edge and make sure that I haven't created any type of anomaly or Truoil puddles down the side or the corner of the binding. So I sort of just go right nice and easy around that binding to make sure that I haven't made any mistakes with my finish. Give a little inspection. Okay, and that is 1 coat of the Truoil, okay, on the body of this Dreadnought guitar. I'll quickly show you, and with a little bit of residual left in the microfiber, these tend to hold the Truoil pretty good, so you don't have to be real liberal with it, but just keep it moist. Again, I've prepared the neck and headstock with a Quado steel wool. These also have the same amount of coats that the guitar body did. So you can see that they're dulled back. A little bit of sheen there, almost looks like a satin or a matte. But the top here, the rosewood, and then mahogany on the back. And then you also have that tortoiseshell binding material used here on the back of the heel. Also, when you're doing the neck, something to note is to be cautious. A lot of people will tape the top of the fingerboard and the frets to make sure that they don't get the Truoil on. I found that if you're kind of careful and just keep your hands clean, you can do it without a lot of prep or gloves or anything like that. So it's not terribly difficult to deal with. So again, you want to make sure that you clean off your piece, make sure there's no foreign debris or dust on it before you begin. And I will quickly take my applicator that has the Truoil on it. I like to start on the front side, and you can see here quickly how that coating is applied. And again, I'm still trying to add coats to fill up that grain. If you can see in the reflection, there is still some grain and pores that have yet to be filled. And if you want the true flat gloss finish, you got to continue to build up layers. And you can see I just go nice and easy on the sides that I've dulled down with the Quado steel wool. All right. The headstock's a little bit tricky because there's so many corners. Just go light, and you want to make sure you're not globbing it up anywhere, because once it hardens and cures, it will stand out in the finish and it will make it look not professional. Again, you can see the binding here on the side of the fingerboard. So I'm going to just gently apply a coat, and you can almost immediately see the shine come through into the heel. Okay, just wiping on gently, making sure that I have full coverage. And going back to the top just to make sure that I have had no drips or anything that's going to harden into some sort of defect in the finish. And there you can see, okay, we have a nice shiny, continue to put on coats, and this is looking really, really good. So, and then last but not least, I can show you guys how I will do the bridge. Again, this is a piece of rosewood. Tacomas are known for their sort of wonky bridge shape. I tend to like them very much. Others do not. They prefer the traditional Martin square or rectangular shape. But anyway, this one's a little bit difficult because there's so much topography to it. It's high, it's got curves. But again, the process is going to be the same. Okay, I've taken this piece of rosewood and I've sanded it before putting any coats on to 600 plus grit sandpaper, and then in between each coat again of Truoil, I'm flattening it back with the Quado steel wool. So this one is already prepared. I've already cleaned it off and wiped off any excess. So now I'm going to move this guitar out of my way. And I'm going to show you this bridge. So we wipe on the edge. Okay, just like so. And you'll see immediately the shine starting to come through of the Truoil. Okay, it really does yield a beautiful end finished product if you do it properly. You see in the middle, I still have a dull area. Excuse me, I'm doing something.
What touched me a picture?
And I'll put it down and do the last section right over the top of the bridge pin holes and the saddle slot. So there you go. And you can see here. Okay. So thank you again for watching, and hopefully I'll be putting on some more videos for you guys that can be helpful with your experience in restoring some old guitars. Thanks again.